Yo, 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 what is going on? What is going on? What is going on, everybody? My name is Brandon. I'm the guy who flies, and I am back with episode 7's recap of HBOmax's The Flight Attendant. Y'all, I gotta go back on my word so many times in this episode. Like, I gotta go back on some of the things that I done said, but let's get into it.
Hey player, what you gonna get for Christmas? Yeah. What you gonna get that boy? What you gonna...
Okay, so our episode opens, Miranda bailed Cassie out of jail. So they're in the alley. She's like pushing her down the sidewalk with the gun. Pushes her into like this storage unit or this alley or something. I don't know. But basically, she is asking Cassie for where is it, where's the money? She wants the money that we know that Alex was laundering or stealing or moving or shifting. Cassie's like, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. I'm just a flight attendant. Like, I don't know nothing like that. And then Miranda's like, you killed Alex. And Cassie's like, what? She's like, who you work for? She's like, I work for Imperial Atlantic. She's like, don't say you're a flight attendant. And then basically she comes to realize that Cassie actually doesn't know anything and she's not working for anyone and that they're actually just really fucked. Because Cassie really is just a flight attendant. She thought it was going to be super, super easy, but no, it's not. So they reconvene at a bar where now they're just sitting down face to face, like, acquaintances. And Cassie does what Cassie does in any situation, and she is pouring alcohol into her coffee. Miranda's like, girl, like, come on now, we're in a bar. You can't just pull out your own personals. And I'm like, you don't know Cassie, okay? They start talking. Miranda is talking around different things that are happening. And Cassie delivered my favorite line of this entire miniseries when she said,
"Don't underestimate flight attendants. We do more than serve drinks. We're also here for your safety."
yes, 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 yes. But basically, through their conversation, Miranda reveals that Alex was actually good. And he did not do that very bad thing until he learned of his parents and all the dirty stuff that they were involved in. And so basically, it was at that point where he took the money and then he kind of just went off to Bangkok. And then that's when, he collided with our friend Cassie. That's where the story picked up. Okay, so now we know that Victor is after Cassie because Cassie is still the person that's out here with the quote-unquote information or the stuff. And once Cassie reveals that she saw that both of their pictures were on the servers, the Lionfish servers, as people to be killed or that have been killed, we now know that Victor's after Cassie, and there was a contingency plan should Miranda not be able to fulfill her obligation. So Miranda tells us that person is Felix. So we're like, who the fuck is this Felix person? We've never seen Felix. Okay. Now the two of them, they're going to work together. They're going to try to figure out a plan for how they both can get what they want and also stay alive. Flip to the FBI. The FBI is still trying to piece things together. They got this part of the story. They got that part of the story. What's true? What's not true? They're pointless. Like, forget the FBI. Forget I ever said go to the FBI because they're no help. So he's at the hospital. She is still sitting beside Max's side, waiting for him to wake up. To recover, to whatever. And she's going through what she's going through. She gets a phone call or a message, and based on her reaction, we can almost probably tell who it is because outside of the hospital waiting is Cassie and Miranda. Cassie gets a phone call from Buckley, and Buckley's like, hey, and she's like, hey, are you good? She's like lying about her location, and Buckley's kind of pressing the issue like, hey, I want us to there's something here. I want us to figure it out. And she's like 2 weeks ago I would have been so down for this, but you don't know me and right now it's not the time. Like, I just cannot get involved in something right now. And he's like, he doesn't understand. And he is laying it on thick. And I'm just sitting here like, don't trust him. Like, y'all literally just met. Like, I know some people be like, they meet their person and when you know, but at the same time, also like, we flight attendants, we don't lie to y'all. No, some people do relationships. Other flight attendants like, no, I'm just here for a good time, not a long time. Anyway, Annie comes downstairs. She sees Cassie. They have dialogue. They sort of pseudo make up. They just put all the cards on the table and realize that they do really, both of them need each other. So they make up. Cassie introduces Miranda. basically this version of the story is that they want Annie's help to get Cassie's name cleared from his murder, because Miranda can basically tell it all because she knows everything, but then Miranda needs immunity, and that's where Annie comes in. Annie's like, I don't know what's happening, but then she's like, wait, I'm actually still a smart lawyer. We can figure out something. She devises a plan for them to lay low while she goes and puts something together, but Miranda knows differently. She knows that we can just not sit and be targets. Like, we need to run away. We need to get out of the country. We need to be gone forever right now. So that's what she wants Cassie to do. And so Cassie basically lies to Annie and tells her, yeah, we're going to go do what you said, lay low, to protect Annie. Like, she realizes that she just doesn't need to drag her friend into this, because Miranda was right. Miranda's like, hey, like, now you involve your friend, now Victor's going to know about her, and then he's going to be after her. And at this point, we know Cassie is starting to see the other side of the leaf. And so she's thinking about her actions before she does them, and so we're not going to pull Annie into this, so she lies to Annie. Flip the scene to Megan's house. Megan's husband has gotten in trouble at work. He is on the phone with her. She is kind of talking around the issue, trying to figure out, like, how much do they actually know? What do you think? He's on to her, like, he basically knows that she was somehow involved in it, because he's like, hey, there was some kind of spyware on my computer, and now there are, you know, Korean agencies or whoever who now have access to, you know, government files and, you know, grants and things like that. And so he's on to her, so she's gonna have to figure out a way to, you know, cover up her tracks. I don't know, she really can't. So Miranda and Cassie, also known as Dora and Wonder Woman, Cassie being Dora, Miranda being Wonder Woman, they're now on the run. They end up at a church, of all places, to meet up with Miranda's Connect, and it's going to help them get out. Cassie gets a phone call from Davey, her brother, and he's like, hey, do you want me to come in? Like, first he was checking to see, you know, was she out and all that kind of stuff. Then he was like, hey, do you want me to come? And she's like, no. She basically has to lie to her brother to protect him, because she doesn't want him to come there and get involved. She got a whole lot going on. And at this point, on the other side of Cassie, we're trying to protect people. We're not just dragging people along and into our mess. So she's trying to protect him. So she lies to him and say, no, everything is fine. You don't need to come. So they continue towards the back of the church, and where should they end at other than an AA meeting? And I died. Like, I burst into laughter, because I'm like, oh, look, Cassie at AA. Because, you know, she's not alcoholic. She doesn't have a drinking problem. However, while sitting at AA meeting, her and Alex in her head have a moment, and he is, when I tell you, he is applying that pressure. Like, girl, you got a problem. You need to address it. Why is it so difficult for you to be here? She's sitting there. She's having visions. She's, like, looking around the room. She sees herself at Bangkok. She sees her drunk dad and her younger self sitting over there. She's seeing these other random dead people that are just, like, there. Like, she's just having these visions. Somebody's up, you know, giving their testimony, or what do they call it? Making their statement, telling their story. That's what it's probably called, telling their story. Our girl Cassie, she freaks out. She starts making a scene. She does that oversharing thing that she doesn't even realize she's doing when she's doing it. I mean, she's like, tries to run away. She turns one corner. She runs into this gigantic ass rabbit. She runs the other way. Like, I mean, full out scene, because all of this is being seen by the other people that are present. She ends up in this little church nursery room or whatever, and she, like, sits down at the table and has the flashback of flashbacks, and this is when we get the full story. I'm like, it only took to episode 7, but we get the full flashback story. Young Cassie in the truck. She's drinking, dad's driving. Drinking and driving don't always mix too well. Drinking and driving, drinking and driving, drinking and driving. What happens? Bam. Accident. She wakes up, dad is dead. They smash into another couple. That dead couple that she had the vision of, that was actually the people that they killed. She gets out of the truck, young Cassie does, and she's like, once she realizes that her dad is not going to wake up, he's unresponsive, and she runs. She runs away. You know, she's good at running away. She has a heart-to-heart moment with herself, like full-blown breakdown, come to Jesus, in therapy breakthrough, in her head, by herself. Because Alex in her head is with her. She's never told the story to anyone. And she is guilty for her father's death and that accident. And this is what she's been carrying since she was what? Like, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that younger age. She said that her dad never drank like that unless she was with him drinking. She was his drinking buddy. She was the reason why he was drinking and driving that much in that moment. And so she has been carrying that guilt. She never told anybody that she was involved. And so her dad kind of got the heat. I mean, he died, of course, but the story was basically that he was drunk and driving. I'm like, nobody else looked into that. And so here I am thinking this child got talked to somebody, you know, did some of this and some of that when she was younger. No, nobody knew she was actually involved in the accident. I'm like, wow. If only the truth would have come out that she was drinking with him, and then she would have probably got some help. She probably wouldn't be the adult she is now. Then we also probably wouldn't have a show. So there's that. Anyway, she, in her present self, is just tired of running. She tells Miranda she is tired of running. And I will say this to the end of time. You do not make real changes until it hurts bad enough. And it hurts her. It is hurting her. And it's hurting her bad enough that she's ready to make a change. So she tells Miranda, I can't run away. We just can't do this. So, flip back to the hospital, and Max is awake. Yes. Max made it, y'all. Max made it, okay? Annie, you know, she confesses that she loves him. He says something else. She's like, no, don't take it too far now. I just said one thing and nothing else will change. But the two of them start talking. She realizes that no, Miranda and Cassie did not go check into the hotel like she told her that she would. Max tells her that basically she lied to you because she's trying to protect you. She doesn't want you to be involved because there's some really, really bad stuff going on. And then she's like, I need you to tell me exactly where you were when you got hit. And so that's when Annie figures it out. Like, I know that she, at least in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, she figured out, like, if she can get this flash drive and get it to the right people, then a lot of this can go away. Miranda meets up with Cassie in this little nursery where she's already had her little heart-to-heart moment. And Miranda tells her, sweetie, I think you're losing your mind. I'm proud of how much you've accomplished in this short time, but yeah, girl, you got something going on. Which is so funny because I'm like, Miranda, you've only known her for this much time and you saying the same thing that we all been saying, like, yeah. So she's like, come on, this is what needs to happen. Do this, do that. And Cassie's on her. She's like, girl, no, I don't trust you. You just want this money. Like, let's just be real. I'm like, yes, Cassie, you are speaking into it now. Like, yes, for clarity. Someone's like, okay, yeah, I was never here for the mush shit anyway. So then they're like, we need to figure out a way to get up out of it. So they're in there, they're trying to hash out a plan. They are like talking through a plan about where this money actually is, because that's all that Miranda really wants. And she's like, where would it be? Not in the phone, it's not safe enough. It will be like maybe in a ledger or something. And that's when Cassie remembers that she had Alex's book when they were hanging out in the hotel room, and he was writing all kinds of stuff in the book. And she's like, oh my gosh, I think I know what it is. It's in a book. She has the book. If you remember, she took the book, so she has it. So now I guess they're gonna go and figure out how to get the book, you know, so they can have it. And I'm like, yes, here we go. We are like busting them through in episode 7. Flip back to Megan. She's at home. She's just on pins and needles. And I'm like, whoo, girl. Like, she's on pins and needles about this whole situation. I'm like, you the new Cassie at this point, because Cassie over here, you know, handling business, doing what she needs to do. Megan is over here just freaking out. Annie is on the scene with the flash drive. The flash drive has managed to get from the street to the inside the gutter. It's behind this little, you know, rail gate thingy. So her hand can't fit through enough to reach it. And I'm like, is it water damage? Like, what's going on? Anyway, she sees some kids. She's like, who wants to make $20? So we're assuming that she paid the kids $20 to reach in their little hand in, grab the flash drive, pull it back. Oh, pull it back out. And now Annie has a flash drive. That's what we're under that section of. Okay, so now Annie has a flash drive. We are making strides. Next thing, we get to the FBI pointless, but they're like, hey, they recovered the bottle, there's prints on the bottles, they're sending it to us because nothing came up in their system. Agent Hammond is like, well, we don't quite know what's going to come up. And Agent White's like, we already know it's going to have Bowden's prints on it. So he, you know, he is just nailed in that Bowden did it. She's the one, like, clearly he is the unexperienced one of the group, which we all, you don't know what you're talking about. You need more work in the field of investigation because it's not it. She's also like, why are you getting information from the NYPD when we have our own agent trailing Cassie, Bowden or whatever? And they're like, oh yeah, we haven't heard from him in a long time. And I'm like, so she's like, hey, find out. And then they're like, yeah, nobody's heard from him. And she's like, wait a minute, so is this not ringing an alarm, like a bell for nobody else. And I'm just like, what is going on at the FBI? Like, y'all just lose people and it's just okay? Like, when did that become a thing? Miranda and Cassie go to Annie's apartment because if you remember, all of Cassie's stuff, well, not all of Cassie's stuff, but most of Cassie's stuff is at Annie's apartment because she's been afraid to be at her apartment since, you know, Miranda broke in and, you know, she's been on the run. So they go, she goes into her little tote bag, her little travel pro. Hey, bam, there's a book. Miranda flips through it. They find information. Yes. Why, in the exact moment that they do that, somebody is trying to bust in the apartment. Thankfully, she had latched it a little bit, so somebody trying to get through with a knife. And they're like, oh my God, it's Felix. We still don't know who Felix is. Maybe you all have figured it out. I didn't know at the time who Felix was, so I had my suspicions, but yeah. So they make it up to the roof, and Cassie has her purse. I don't know why Miranda didn't have her purse. She left her purse at the door. But she puts the book in her coat pocket. They get up to the top of that building and they're like, oh my gosh, we gotta run away. And they have to jump to the other building. So we have this scene where they're like on this building and they have to get to this building. So they have, it's a cute little humorous moment between the two of them because they're like, oh my God, we gotta go. Cassie just runs back, runs forward, leaps, jumps over. And then she's like, Miranda, you didn't jump. And Miranda's like, nobody established that we were jumping. And so then Miranda backs up and then Miranda jumps over. And then they run, get around the corner, and Miranda's like, shit, I don't have the book. She looks back, and the book is over there on the other side, and who is walking over to pick it up? No one other than Felix. So then they're like, shit, we are fucked. We're gonna be dead and not have anything. And Cassie's like, well, you know, maybe not, this, and this. And Miranda's like, no, you don't understand Felix. He is bad, he's killed women and children. There's a story about him and these cats and this and this and this. And the minute she says like somebody and a bunch of killing of the cat, who do we know that is the cat story person? Cassie's like, she walks around the corner and peek, and it is none other than who? Buckley. Buckley is Felix. Buckley is the one that has been trailing her. Buckley is the one that is after her and is trying to kill them. I was like, this is the kind of entertainment I was looking for at HBOmax. Yes! The two of them escape. They end up going into a bodega because Cassie's like, yeah, I gotta process a little bit of this and I need like drinks. So she goes into the freeze, the cooler, gets a beer, she pops a beer, she's drinking. So they're in a bodega and they were in there for like a minute, y'all. Like, I'm like, what part of town y'all in? Because y'all just in here chilling, drinking. Like, I mean, you could just bought a 6-pack, but okay. And they are literally in this bodega coming up with this elaborate plan. So we see a plan in motion. We don't know that actually happens yet. But here's the plan. Miranda says, Cassie, because they're trying to figure out how to get away, where can they get to? They said, we know that he will always follow his subject, whoever he's tracking or whatever. To wherever. So she's like, you're going to work your Rome flight. I'm going to be on that flight with you. You're going to fly this flight to Rome. When you're going to get off, you're going to get off the airport with your crew. You're going to get on the van. I'll be in the taxi behind you. You're going to check into the hotel as you normally do, but you will leave another key for this particular night. You're going to go, but he's going to follow you to that hotel, and that's when he usually attacks people. So you're not going to stay at the hotel long. You're going to go out with, so we're like seeing all of this like play out or whatever. You're going to go out with your crew. I'm going to come into the room immediately behind you and hide out. You're going to go out with your crew, then you're going to come back, and when you come back, he's probably going to attack you there, and then once he's in the room, I'll come and slit his throat. Pause. Because Alex in her head is like, wait a minute. She's like, no, I don't want you to stop this. Like, he has to die. He's not contesting the fact that he has to die. He's contesting the fact like, hey, wake up, listen to the story, you're the bait. So she's like, okay, so we're gonna do all this and I'm gonna be the bait. And Miranda's like, yeah. And that's where the episode ends. They should have called this episode To Catch a Killer, because that is what they out here trying to do. This episode did it for me. QTNA, number one. What is Annie going to do with this flash drive? Is she going to, you know, mess up the situation further, or is she going to just give it to the FBI? Like, let's get us a copy. You know, we need backup around here these days. 2, are they going to follow this plan as it's set out to be? Because, my God, I swear the Rome trip was supposed to be like a whole 2 days ago, but this Rome trip from episode 6 is now, didn't happen in episode 6, and it's been a whole nother day, and it didn't happen in episode 7. So, I'm assuming the Rome flight has to happen in the finale. I hope this is a long episode because we still got a lot of things to tie up. QTNA number 3. Is Megan about to get caught? That's all I got for y'all. That was my recap of episode 7 of HBO Max's The Flight Attendant. I am ready. I am here for this finale that is coming on tomorrow. I might even do a live recap. That would be 45 minutes. Who knows? But you know what? Like, at this point, let's go, because I am ready, y'all. Ready. I don't know what the plan is, but I'll be back. Again, I'm Brandon, I'm Flies. I'll see you all the next time.